Welcome to Fiction Authors Talk Books, or Fat Books Podcast. This episode, I'm talking with the darling Ivy Asher about a little of this and that. I named this podcast Fiction Authors Talk Books because I wanted to incorporate all aspects of being a fiction author in the discussions. Being an author is a stressful job with high expectations from both ourselves and our fans, so this will always be a chill conversation that probably goes off topic most times, but we'll have some fun. If you enjoyed the podcast and would like to see your favorite author on here, send them this link, and they can get in touch with us at fatbookspodcast@gmail.com. We take all authors who write fiction and have been published as long as they're polite. Thanks for joining, and on to the podcast. How long have you been doing this? You've been doing this a while, right?
I feel like I'm still a baby. I'm just like over 4-ish years now, 4.5 years now. So not long at all.
Well, that's definitely not a noob. I mean, that's you're
Okay.
seasoned enough to
I'm like
get the
in
game.
between.
Yeah. But you've been doing this long enough and have enough out where, how many computers have you gone through?
Oh my gosh, I'm just about to buy a new laptop, and I've probably gone through like 4. This will be my 4th.
Yeah. It's the funniest thing because we're not like gamers or super techie people, but every author I talk to, like I think my writing computer, I have to get a new writing computer again, and I just got one like 2 years ago. But I have a laptop. I have a big computer in my office that's actually more my gaming computer in my office, but it's all my backup and all my graphic stuff. But then I have my writing computer, and it seems every year one of them goes out. And
yeah, and they like to trade off.
Yeah, pretty much. But like, even, I mean, obviously I'm on my writing computer a lot, writing. And but even when I'm done for the day, a lot of times I boot up my laptop and I'm doing pre-edits on that or edits on it. And it's like, it's just funny because most people, I guess, don't think of authors as like very techie, but for the amount of time that we're on, every time I talk to an author, they're like, oh God, yeah, I got to get a new computer. And it's just really funny for me. Like, I wonder how much we make up the tech computer laptop industry in sales.
It's so funny too, because I would also say like gamer accessories as well, because when I first started writing, I was Android everything, right? And then when I discovered Vellum and the fact that like Apple everything connects in this really like user-friendly way, I switched over to everything Apple. So I got like a new laptop. I've now switched over to, I have like a big fatty desktop and now a laptop, depending upon where I want to work for the day. And then I bought like a gamer chair because I was sitting in like these office chairs and my back and legs were killing me, after working sometimes 12 plus hours a day, like regularly. Yeah. And I started, when I got some book money, I started buying like fancy office chairs, and they were awful. And so I started researching like different things that I could, acquire to help me feel more comfortable. And I saw recommended everywhere gamer chairs. I have like this Secret Lab, I don't know, fancy fucking thing. And it's not, it looks like a, I don't know, like a normal office chair, I guess.
Okay.
But it's so fucking comfortable. So I bought it because they were like, gamers literally live in their chairs. Like it's not like an office chair where, maybe you're max spending like 6 or 8 hours. Gamers literally fucking, like this thing tilts back and you can take a nap in it. And I was like,
oh, nice.
That's the life I want to live. So I feel like we buy like gamer accessories too, like to sort of like fit our lifestyle, and there's just such a funny overlap. I know so much about gaming, even though I'm not a gamer, just from doing research on like accessories and shit.
See, I'm not like a gamer, but I love Minecraft and I like playing, video games. But like, it's funny because a lot of the gamers don't like the bucket seats, and they I always think of Arthur Miller, the dance thing, but it's what are those really super expensive chairs?
Herman Miller.
Herman Miller, of course she knows. Yeah. So there are several, of course you know the answer. There are several gamers, because I like watching the live streams because I don't have as much time to game. So when instead of watching like television, TV, I watch Twitch streams mostly when I'm off. But yeah, they all swear by Herman Miller. Now, I have a Han chair for gaming that it's like 3 years old and it's time to get a new one. So when I'm looking to buy a house, so when I do, I was thinking of getting a Herman Miller. They're like 1,500, $2,000 or
Yeah.
something.
It's like no joke. Yeah.
Yeah. But my actual writing chair, because I have an all-in-one as my writing computer because I can't do gaming on it, so I can't get distracted. But that's part of why, because they don't have like graphics cards, they have more of the graphics components. So I can do covers on there, but I can't do gaming. Yeah, it's less than 2 years and I need another all-in-one or whatever. I have like a Barker lounger as my chair. My keyboard I put on like a little lap desk and I sit there and I put my legs up and it's got massage, it's got heat, it's got it was not a cheap chair. I think it was like $1,200, but the last one I had was about the same and it lasted me a couple years. But yeah, like you were saying, if you sit your ass in it for 8, 9, 10 hours a day, you better be making sure you're not screwing your back
real.
over. And I'm such a weirdo that I half the time, like those for taking flights or whatever, travel neck pillows, I actually have a neck pillow on most of the time when I'm writing.
Oh, do you? Oh, smart.
Yeah, because it helps with tension even. Like I don't get tense when I'm writing tense scenes or whatever. I just kind of tilt I've noticed it sounds so stupid and I'm sure I look like an absolute like duffer when I'm doing it, but it really has helped my back and I don't get neck pain anymore because I wear the stupid neck pillow when I'm writing.
My fancy chair came with like a pillow that attaches to the back, and at first when I was setting up the chair I was like, I'm not gonna fucking use this, like this is stupid. But then my daughter something put it on there and was playing with it. And then one day I was writing and I leaned back and I was like, oh, that is nice.
This is nice.
And it does the same thing. It just like when it gets too crazy, I like tilt back, lean back and like relax into it. And it's just so freaking nice.
I just do like the light back massage, but it's a 20-minute cycle and that's how long I actually write for. Right. And then I get up and move around and do a little something and then sit back down and do another 20-minute cycle. So it's like so many authors are just like, oh, I just go to a coffee shop and set up my laptop and I'm like, how's your back? How's your fingers? How's your anything? Do you value them? Because you sound very like, what was that old word, kitschy or something? You sound very trendy doing that and like whatever, but you're not. In like 5 years, this is gonna hurt. Your neck is you're gonna have carpal tunnel.
100%.
All this stuff. Yeah, I sound like a super old woman and I'm really not.
No, not at all. Like, I get it so hard. In the beginning too. So one of my besties, Raven, lives like down the road. And so in the beginning we used to try to be like those cool kids who would like go to the coffee shop and, get a nice latte and, find a couch and just work, and live that life. And then we also learned very quickly that was like not the life at all. It was so distracting and we never got shit done and like so uncomfortable. And we learned very quickly that was not the plan.
My word count has gone down since I've moved into an apartment significantly. Like I've had trouble adjusting even. And, but like when I was living it was a rental, but when I was living in a house in a quieter neighborhood and it was a nice sized house, I had people all the time be like, how are you doing this many books? How are you saying that you're getting 10,000 words done a day? And I was like, I don't have kids.
Yeah.
I don't fuck around.
Right.
This is a job.
Yeah.
I don't have plot bunnies. I don't have some of the others. I mean, I get it to a point and I goof around with it, but I get really annoyed when some authors are like, oh, my plot bunnies are, how's your muse? And I'm like, Stephen King doesn't talk about his plot bunnies and his muse. He outlines, this is a real job. I really work at it. And more than that, I make sure that I'm in my bubble. I'm focused just like any other job.
Yeah.
I prefer to write in quiet, but now in the apartment, I tend to put on music. It keeps my dog from hearing every little noise and barking. I used to do the same thing when it was time for the kids to come home in the neighborhood and the school bus would be super loud or the UPS truck, normal mailman times I would put on music. Right. And like you focus. There's going to be days where you can't do.
Yep.
Like yesterday, I was just so out of it because the day before it was 60 degrees out and within 16 hours it snowed. And my head was just, I kept saying to my friend around here, because our dogs are dating.
Oh, cute.
They're super cute. And we walk like once a day because she lives in the apartment complex too. And
Uh-huh.
I just said to her, I just keep feeling like, is this thing on? Is this thing attached up here? My head was so. Oh, yeah. Vader has a girlfriend. She is a 3-year-old Cane Corso, which is those huge Italian Mastiffs.
Yes, I love a big beefy dog. Oh my gosh, love.
She is 145 pounds.
Yes, girl. Thick one.
And yes, we like a thick girl.
We
And
do.
she likes an older man because he's 8.5 and 60-pound Weimaraner Beagle mutt mix. They are the cutest couple.
Oh,
They're the power couple of the complex.
naturally.
In 2 years of dating, they've only fought over blueberries a couple times
I mean,
because,
that is a solid relationship. You really just can't ask for more than that. You really can't.
right? Relationship goals, only 2 fights over food.
100%. I just like gave my husband a glare because he couldn't help me figure out the microphone as though he knows what he's doing because I just decided he should. So really, blueberry battles, that's living the life.
Right? You said you have a daughter. Do you have any
Yeah.
fur pets or just the
Yes.
one child? Or?
I'd have a whole ass farm if I could get away with it. But I
Jeez.
have a cat who's currently pissed because she's in the office with me and she doesn't want to be, but it's her own fault. And then I have 2 French bulldogs. And one of them, so he's definitely no Darth level intelligence, but he's smart for a Frenchie, as
Yeah.
condescending as and accurate as that is. So like we had my best little buddy died last summer, and
So sorry.
like super suddenly, and so we hit like Christmas time, and we had our little girl Winnie, who was just like sad, and she was still like puppy, and she just wasn't playing anymore, and so we felt like it was time to start looking again. And I had found or heard of long-haired Frenchies when I was doing research for one of my series, the Aussies Chronicles. I have like a dog in there named Hoot, and I was looking for like weird-looking dogs, and I found
Okay.
a picture of a long-haired Frenchie on Pinterest, and I thought it was like an edited photo. I didn't think it was a real dog. Like they look like little Ewoks, and
Oh my God, that's so funny.
100%. So I didn't think it was real, but when I was doing research for the book and like, different breeds I could mix together to get like a really weird looking animal, I realized that they are real. So when we were talking about potentially looking for a new pet, I was like, let's look for long-haired Frenchies. I don't think they're a thing, but like maybe we can find something. So I started looking and immediately found a lady who breeds them. And apparently they're just normal Frenchies. It's just a gene that some of them have where they grow longer fur as opposed to the others. And she had a little clearance dog. He was older. He was like, I think he was like around 7 months. And nobody had taken him. And we took one look at him and we're like, okay, we'll come get him. So we brought him home like 2 days later. And he's just the funniest fucking dog. And, all of just like the silly, goofy, like Frenchy qualities.
Yeah.
But he's fucking smart. He opens doors as well. He gets into like the trash cupboard. He does all sorts of crazy ass shit that we've never had a French bulldog do, because normally they're very like, the Frenchies like just want to cuddle and sleep. Like they don't really do anything.
Yeah.
They're very lazy.
Yeah, they're kind of lumps on a.
Exactly. They're not the smartest, like little guys. But he's shown up and just been like, fuck that. So he just gets into all sorts of crazy stuff. And now we like have to childproof things. We don't have any babies in the house,
That's so funny.
but we fully like had to childproof our house and like, double check that like everything is safe when we leave, and like all sorts of just funny, hilarious things. But my bestie just had a baby. So I'm like, listen, my house is good to go. Like bring that little nugget over because we are childproofed and we are ready. Thanks to our dog, who's smarter than we expected. And I do get a lot of hate emails because I swear a lot in my books. And for some reason, that's been like my use of fuck or any kind of like derivative of fuck really just pisses people off for some reason. I get a lot of
Yep.
messages about that. I get a lot of, there's always
You
like
could be a great author if you didn't, you know,
100%. Why do you need
if you
to
weren't
say
such an
this?
idiot to. Mhm.
Exactly. Or I'll always there's always, like, a handful of comments, like, when an ad goes out for a book, there's always a handful of comments, like, on an ad of people, like, complaining about the use of language. I mean, I have, warnings that all of my books are, like, adult and that I use, like, language and graphic sex
Yeah.
and graphic violence and all of that, but I've learned that a lot of times readers don't read, and so people just,
Yeah.
like, never ever see any of the warnings, and then they dive in, and they get a little bit of a shock, and then they get mad. So, it happens.
Yep.
Luckily, I've
Yep.
gotten a lot more love for those things, so it definitely drowns out the hate, but I swear once a week, I will open an email that is somebody complaining about my use of language, so it's just really funny. I'm like, "Women can
Yep.
say fuck too. You're gonna be okay." It can go left so quickly. Everything will be great, and you're just meeting, like, the coolest fucking people and just, like, amazing readers, and there will sometimes be an occasional person where, like, the vibe is just super off, and you're like, "This feels a little, like, dangerous. Like, what is happening right now?" And you just don't you just don't know. Yeah, when your instincts kind of like ping and you're like, "Okay, I don't know what to do. You're right
Yeah.
here and I just want everyone to be happy and read books and not, you know."
I don't like strangers touching me. People just can't come and hug you, and
Right.
you're like, "Okay, and then you're the jerk for being like, "Okay, I don't know you, please don't touch me."
Right.
Um,
It's hard to like find the balance of like being welcoming and appreciative, but also like having boundaries and keeping yourself
yeah.
comfortable. Yeah.
The only time, but still, even with the overexuberance, most people back off, most people are very nice. I
Uh-huh.
had a great time talking to a lot of the fans. It's like somebody's gotta ruin it for everyone, but, like, there are crazies out there, and you can't let it, you gotta put yourself first. You gotta
Yeah.
protect yourself, and as much as I'd like to do signings and meet fans, you're never gonna get them not to take pictures. Somebody's
Right.
always gonna be a jerk and take a
Right.
picture.
Yep.
And I don't want my face out there anymore. I'm a single woman who lives alone, and
Mhm.
I've already had a stalker show up at my door and had to get the police involved and everything,
Perfect.
and I
Yeah.
don't wanna do that again. I wanna be able to sleep at night.
Yeah. No, you have to do, like, what's best for you, and it doesn't look the same for every person by any means, which is
Exactly.
difficult, but also, like, is what it is. No, I totally get that. That's a very, like, pervasive issue, like, in our writer world, is trying to figure out, like, how much of yourself, like, either your personality or your life or, like, your face, your very being to, like, show and involve in it and when to, like, know to, like, pull back. In the beginning for me, I did not wanna show my face. Mostly because I'm a fat kid, and I knew that sometimes, like, when people are reading a lot of times, or at least maybe this is just me as a reader, I can sometimes picture the author like I picture the characters. And sometimes when you see who is behind the curtain, you can be like, "Oh, that's not at all what I expected." And while for a lot of readers, that's just like an innocent moment where you're like, "Oh, that she doesn't look like I thought she would look." But for some people, it can like be a deterrent. Like they, don't want to reward your fat kid lifestyle or whatever, so they don't want to read your shit anymore. Or
Huh.
social media can be like more unkind, like when you're a fat kid or whatever. So for me in the beginning, I was really hesitant to show what I
Yeah.
look like or to even want to consider doing signings because I didn't want people to know who was behind the curtain. But then I just did because it, just becomes like reality. And I was invited to a signing and I wanted to feel like a cool kid. So I did it. Everyone was
Yeah.
super nice and nobody's been like a total cunt about it. But like, it feels that way now with, like, TikTok and, Instagram. It's like, how much do I really wanna, like, put my face and my whole, like, life out there, and how much do I not? Because it's just a hard balance. I mean, how do you
Oh, for sure.
decide, like, what is or isn't okay? And I feel like the social media aspect of our jobs is so difficult in its own right. Like, I just feel like
Well, it's a double-edged sword because we wouldn't be what we
Exactly.
are without ebooks and social
Exactly.
media, also the dangerous factor.
Yeah.
I did show my face originally to start
Uh-huh.
and then pulled back after things went too awry. I think Goodreads is a cesspool. I heard it's gotten better,
Agree
but I think it's a
100%.
cesspool
Yes.
of nothing. I had people photoshopping my face onto everything gross. What is the
What
I
the
was I
fuck?
can't even tell you how many quote unquote reviews I was fat shamed in.
Ugh.
What's the one? It's not Cousin It, it's like the blob thing from one of the 80s cult classic horror movies.
Oh god.
And they were photoshopping my face on it. They were photoshopping animals having sex in my face on
What?
stuff. Like, it was this whole thing
Who
of
has
just
time for this shit?
I don't know, but Goodreads wouldn't take it down.
Oh,
I
that's gross.
reported it, and they're like, "That's freedom of" I'm like, "That is not freedom of whatever. That is my photo manipulation. It's harassment. It's fat
Yeah,
shaming. It's bullying." And so I just took everything down, and anything up there has nothing to do with me. I'm not,
right.
on there, whatever.
How is Goodreads just like, "Oh, it's fine." What? Are
Yeah,
we for
they
real?
wouldn't take any of it down.
Ugh,
And this was years and years ago, so I haven't been back since in any of that. And that's, it's dangerous. It's you if you don't say anything, it's like you're okay with it. Yeah, because that's even like what is the streamer's name? QC Cinderella or something, where all the deep fakes and she's been on like deep faked porn sites
oh,
and
I know
stuff.
what you're talking about. I've seen, like, some
Yeah.
documentaries on the whole deep fake situation, how fucking terrifying that is. Jeez.
And she's struggling with body dysmorphia
Ugh,
because all of these deep fakes on porn sites, and her attorneys are like, "You have nothing legally to sue about or stand on."
so
And it's like, how is that okay?
we all talk about how our laws need to catch up, like, with our technology, but, like,
Yep.
it's just terrifying sometimes.
Well, and it really is. It's like, what's the line? Because a lot of this stuff, you have a snippet of a song even in your books,
Mhm.
or even you write the lyric and you're copyright infringement with
Right.
that one little line.
Mhm.
There's no consistency because even like who's the one that got sued because they posted a photo of themselves but they didn't take the picture, so they got sued for copyright infringement for
What?
posting a photo. Yeah, I'm trying to think of who it was. Um, I want to say Miley Cyrus, but that might not be it. She reposted a photo of herself that a paparazzi had
Oh
taken,
my
and they
gosh.
oh, I think it was Jennifer Lawrence, and they sued her for copyright infringement because the photo wasn't hers.
Oh my god.
They took it, but it's her image,
Right.
and like that lawsuit won.
They
And I'm
it
so
did no.
yeah. If they take a picture of you, they own that part of you, that copyright of you, and you can't even do anything about that photo, which is the other reason I won't show my face anymore. Not that I'm, Jennifer Lawrence here, like whatever, or
Nobody is
whomever.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, right, right. Um, but it's just like that weird, creepy ownership of stuff,
Yeah,
and so like I have a problem even with copyright infringement stuff because I can't report that somebody is copyright as a copyright violation. I mean, there's whole episodes of like Game of Thrones on there, and I can't report it unless it's my copyright.
got it.
And then I had somebody I'm bringing this up mostly because I had to go to battle. Somebody was reading my books
And
because I didn't have
they
the
didn't treat
audiobook.
that as a violation? They didn't see the issue there?
Well, I eventually, but their thing was is that there wasn't a copyright against the audiobook because there wasn't an audiobook.
Ugh,
And I got pissed because just because there isn't something, it's still not taking a book out of a library and reading it to maybe like a class.
yeah,
They are making money
right.
off that, or they could potentially. It's not theirs to decide. It's mine. I own the copyright of that work even if it's not an
I
audiobook.
mean, even if the audiobook hasn't technically been produced, you still own the rights to the audio. It shouldn't matter if there's a competing, like, entity to this person reading. It doesn't matter. You still own the rights to the audio, and this person isn't allowed to do what they're doing.
So this is something we could talk about, the crap of that romance in general gets, because you write romance too, right? You're
Yes.
paranormal romance. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Game of Thrones, he's fantasy. He's quote unquote not romance. But those books have more sex, incest, underage, everything else.
Hmm.
But because it's mainstream and popular, that's okay. We're not gonna, but if it's romance, we're smut, we're erotica, and
Uh-huh.
I hate the word smut. I get so
Same.
annoyed. Yeah, I don't like when other authors are like, oh my smut books. I'm like, excuse me. No, we don't make that
Right.
word popular. We don't disrespect ourselves and our work, our
Hmm.
hard work by
Hmm.
calling our stuff trash.
Well, and I just think there's so much more between those moments for so many of us who write romance that it's a bit of a bummer to have it all just like put in that little box.
Yes.
And like you said, like his whole series, is fantasy but not considered romance, even though it's very like graphically sexual and references a lot of that, and it's all interwoven in his stories. But because there isn't like a lovey-dovey like main interest or like a happy ending sort of thing, it doesn't technically count. And I don't think
Yeah.
that that's how that works, but that's just me.
No, I
So,
absolutely agree with you. And I got a lot of flack because she is getting back with somebody who was kind of, I don't want to say kind of emotionally abusive. She's letting him back in, but he went through a lot of stuff. A lot of it isn't exactly what she thought. She's
mhm.
trying to get it back in, and I've gotten a lot of crap for that. Like you're forgiving things you shouldn't, you're allowing the stereotype, and I got mad and I was like, okay, how many of you are giving me crap and saying I'm enabling this stereotype, I'm enabling men to get away with crap, while you're probably watching House and the Dragon and voting for, I don't know if his name's Damien, whatever his name is, who's grooming his niece, and they get together and have babies.
Oh,
So how many of you are giving me crap? Oh,
right.
you don't know that from House of the Dragon?
I haven't seen it,
I haven't either. I just know it from the TikToks
but I
and the
know I know the whole
yeah.
vibe. Yeah, I do know the vibe, yeah.
Yeah, like how many of you are giving me crap that she's giving forgiveness and a chance at rehabilitation and to grow in life because the guy's like
Uh-huh,
24-year-old idiot,
uh-huh,
like we get older and better. He never hit her or anything.
mhm.
He didn't understand that his behavior was manipulative.
Right.
That's different than grooming your niece.
Right.
And that's probably the same
Right?
people who are like, this is an epic love story. No, it's not. He's
No,
grooming
no,
his
that's
niece for
problematic
incest.
well, it is so interesting to me what TV and movies can get away with that
Oh, for
writers of
sure.
books really can't. For me, another big one would be cliffhangers. And
Oh yeah.
anytime, so I love a good cliffhanger. I love
Oh yeah.
as a reader, I
Mhm.
love it. I mean, in the moment you're like, what the fuck? I need the next book, and you just hope there is the next
Mhm.
book. Um, but for me, it does what it's supposed to do. It gets me hooked right into the next thing. So I love them. I write them, and
Yep.
the amount of just
Hate you get.
pure hate for cliffhangers
Mhm.
and solid complaining. Like sometimes it's all in good fun, but sometimes people are legitimately pissed. And
I hate you. I'm never reading your stuff
yeah,
ever again.
one
Go die.
1 star in
Yep.
your books because you
Yep.
got a cliffhanger, and just like all of this really intense reaction to cliffhangers. And yet we all watch, series on TV where like every fucking show is a goddamn cliffhanger because they need you hooked into the next
Yeah.
one. Like it's a
Oh
legitimate,
yeah.
like, anyway, it's really interesting, like what different mediums can get away with and others
Yeah.
can't. And yeah, we're definitely held to a more interesting standard.
Yeah, I do it too. I don't do it, I want to say maybe less than a quarter of the time.
Yeah.
But I do it if it's like the story kind of needs it. Or I've had ones where they're like, God, that cliffhanger was killer. I'm like, what cliffhanger? There wasn't even a
You're like, wait a
cliffhanger. It's
second.
just the story.
Did I do that?
Yeah, well, it's not even like there's a cliffhanger. It's just like it's a series. The story will continue next
Mhm,
time. Like
mhm.
there's more to come. We all know that.
Right.
Um on that though is like people freaking out over things. Do you get okay, not to pick on fans. We love our fans. We do. I appreciate you guys
Obsessed.
giving me the life that I have.
Yeah.
However, some of you are silly and I publicly pick on them because We just need the fun. Do you get the ones like, okay, so my biggest series is Artemis. I think book 19 is going to come out next month or the month after or something.
Girl, get it.
Oh my God, I'm terrified to finish the series. That's a whole other bucket of balls.
No, for real. I'm like, if we want to talk about how fucking difficult it is to end, or
have you done it?
Girl,
have you ended a series?
Yes and no.
Okay, wait, let me finish this and we can get back to that. 'Cause I want to pick your brain on that because I've never done it.
Okay.
The book is coming out, and do you get those fans that every book is, oh my God, was that the last book? And it's like, no, like I didn't say it was the finale. I didn't say it was the last one. I probably just peeked out my mic when I did that. Sorry. But like, no, it's not when did I say? They're like, oh my God, I can't believe that was the last book. It's like, who the fuck said that was the last? Why are you doing this to me?
So I've never gotten that.
Oh my God, there's always like a dozen people every time that like leave a review or send me an email like, I can't believe you ended the series on that.
I'm like, wasn't it?
Why is it in your brain that every time the series is
like, I don't know if I'm either doing a really good job at this or really bad, because that wasn't. It's okay.
Well, somebody was like, oh, well, you say in your author note at the end, thank you for continuing this journey with me. I'm like, yes, continuing. I didn't say it's the end. Like, thank you for continuing this journey together. We're still going.
It's not a breakup, no.
I can't tell you how many posts, notes, and everything I've said that my Seraphine Thomas series will continue until I die. It's never ending. It's that type of series. I want it to go forever.
Can I just say that I love that you love the world and the characters so much that you can keep going? Because I think that is really difficult to do.
See, I have a problem. Okay, so I started Artemis before all the paranormal romance, college type, reverse harem genre. Yep. I actually started before that blew up so big.
Okay.
Not to be like, I mean, somebody else had done it before me. It's not like I'm saying, ooh,
no,
I'm totally first. I'm not.
I totally get it.
I had started that series like a year and a half actually before I even published it. But I was focused more on Seraphine because that made my money and I needed rent.
Right.
So then I ended up having some trouble getting a new editor, and I had these books already edited, and I'm like, fine, let's just throw them out there. And they blew up, like totally blew up.
Love that.
And that's awesome. Yeah. Like, you want that. I mean, I didn't blow up to your level. I would like to. Oh, all hail Queen Ivy. No, but seriously, I'm not at your level. Let's just call a spade, and that would be great one day.
I don't even know if I'm at any level. Let's be honest. I'm a hot mess on my best day.
Well, we're not comparing like, sales sheets here. I just kind of go off the reviews. Like, if you have double my reviews, you're doing something a little bit better than me. Let's just go with that.
Fair enough. I will take that. Thank you.
So all hail Queen Heidi. No. No, but so it blew up, and I'm dying because I've gotten so much crap from people that I never end my series. Like, oh, she's got all these open series. She's always making new ones. She never ends them. And the one series that I said would be like 25, 26 books, everybody is pissed that I'm going to end. And I'm like, I can't with you people. Like, you're and I'm so scared to end it. I know how the ending is. I've known how the ending is going to be since the beginning. If you read the series, you should not be surprised at the ending. It really is. I've left enough breadcrumbs. I've been
right. It's going to be full circle.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's not meant to be a shocker ending. It's meant to be heartwarming, and we got to where she needed to be.
Right.
But I'm terrified because I've never read a series or watched a TV show series that ended and I wasn't like, oh, that fucking blows.
No, like, for real. Sucks. I feel that. I really feel that. Yeah.
So how have you, so you've done it, but you haven't.
So like, here's the thing with me. Again, hot mess all the way. So I have ended series, but like in an open, fucked up way. Does that make sense at all?
Oh, like you abandoned them?
No.
Like you abandoned them?
Oh, God, no.
Okay, so I've done that.
I would never do that.
I've done that where they sold like 2 books and I'm like, this is done.
No, see, okay, so for me, anytime, so there's been a massive amount of just sheer fucking luck with me. And so when I first released, okay, so my biggest series is the Lost Sentinel series. And when I wrote the first book, I mean, as you know, as an indie, you write it and you have no fucking clue if it's going to hit or resonate or pick up traction. You just don't know what it's going to do. And so for me, when I published it, I thought I had a good book. It was something that I wanted to read, and I felt like, readers would hopefully like it. I got very lucky.
Okay, don't hate me.
Okay, go.
I actually loved it.
Oh, thank you. Why would I hate you?
Because I never finished the series.
Girl, do you even know, as in, we don't have time to read, bro.
That was exactly what I was gonna say. It was one of the last books I've actually read besides my own edits, and it's just I don't have time. But yeah, I loved it. And I don't mean to say this like I'm fabulous, but I never say that to people. I don't go on the record because you get in trouble or somebody will say something and it's like a weird thing. But no, I loved the series. I honestly, it's been so many years, I don't remember what it was about. But when people were suggesting, because the way we invited people is I had my fans suggest, who do you want me to talk to? And you came up a couple times, and I was like, I know that name. God, I know that name.
Right?
And we pulled you, and I was like, oh my God, she put out the other books. I can finally read them. And I'm like, oh, she did that years ago. I'm an asshole.
No, you're not. Because trust me, I get it. There's just no time. You get so freaking busy with like every aspect of this that there's just really no time. So I get that. The fact that you even picked up anything is just like makes my fucking day, and I'm super fucking grateful. So thank you. It's just
no, it's fantastic.
When I put it out there, you never know. Okay, so I got hella fucking lucky, and it did what it did. It took off.
Good for you.
It did its thing, and then it was like a scramble to keep up with the momentum.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've never written as fast or as hard as I did the first 2 years of this fucking job. And it was beautiful and amazing and so fucking brutal and just like not sustainable at all. So when it came to ending that series, I knew I wanted to do more in the world. And I had an idea of how I could connect different characters. But you just don't know if people are going to give a shit. So I released between book 3 in the Lost Sentinel series and book 4. I released the first book in a new series called the Shadowed Wings series. Now, I knew in my head that they were going to be connected, but I didn't want to like advertise that or say that they were going to ultimately be connected, like one book was going to be connected to the Sentinel world, because it felt like spoilers to me. So I completely mismanaged that because people had no idea that it was connected.
Right.
And
and it's one of there's no easy answer on that stuff.
It's all just flying by the seat of your fucking pants, like completely.
Oh, for sure.
Just shooting in the dark. Who knows what's going to work and who's not. So when I ended the Lost Sentinel series, I ended it in a way that sort of kept it open, in the sense that like I felt like the entire arc of the series, Vinna, her discovery of herself, her finding her mates, her, just figuring out who she is and all of that, like that had come to its conclusion. But in the end, I left it open, as in like, we know that they're off doing good things, but if these other series don't pick up, then I don't have to write in the world again. It is like a feel-good ending, so to speak, if that makes sense. So it's like ended, but like not, because
because the story never technically ends, and that leaves you open to go back. Because I've had people be like, I understand you're going to end it when she ends college, but I want to see Tamsin pregnant later. And I'm like, I'm not against that. I'm not against doing like a Christmas something.
The thing I think that I do, and sometimes it's great because like you said, it gives you the opportunity where if you wanted to revisit, you could. But then at the same time, it also shoots you a little bit in the foot, because there is still the possibility to the reader, and a reader who loves a world that you've built, characters that you've created, they want all of it. They want all of it for time and all eternity. They want, like you said, the pregnancy, the weddings, the future. They want to, they're invested in these characters, their family to them, and they want to keep going. And sometimes that's an amazing feeling. Sometimes there's a lot of pressure behind that. And
Oh my God, yeah.
sometimes there's just nowhere really for them to go that honors the original story. You know, because I feel like, and you're probably a fucking awesome person to talk to about this with because you have such a long series. But for me as a reader, I feel like I kind of max out sometimes unless I really, really love the characters and each book has a different vibe. I feel like I max out at like 4 books, maybe 5 books in a series before things can sometimes get repetitive. You know what I mean?
See, I have some of those reviews like that, but I think it's a different type of reader because I get a little miffed when all the books are always like trilogies or only 4 or 5. I'm like, give me more.
Yeah.
Give me I want the longevity because that's more like a K-drama where it's only like 16 episodes and then the whole story's done versus a Grey's Anatomy that went on for 80 million years and is still going.
Right. And I think that's the beauty too of readers and just authors in general is because there's so many different kinds of readers who love different kinds of things. And so you just
Oh, for
try to
sure.
find like your people, I guess,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah. I want to give a big thanks to Ivy Asher for joining me for such a fun conversation. Also, to all of our fans for checking this podcast out. I hope you liked what you heard and decide to stick around. Please make sure to subscribe to the Fat Books podcast on YouTube or Spotify or that little purple icon on your Apple device. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook to stay up to date on who we're recording with and when episodes are coming out. There's also a Patreon if you want to support the podcast and keep it going. Now let's hear a bit about what Ivy's working on and what to look forward to from her next.
Yeah, I just have audiobook and then a signing, and that's pretty much it.
Thanks for staying until the end and hope you enjoyed it.